Very big news about drones that I want to discuss with you today. We've talked about drone warfare and drone policy in the United States and abroad over the last couple of years. We've talked about the lack of rationale presented by the Obama administration, at least when it comes to legal rationale. What is the legal case for the usage of drones in particular situations, including to target and kill Americans when they are abroad? We never heard that. That case was not made by the United States under the premise that it was classified. Well, that is going to end. The Obama administration must disclose the legal basis for targeting Americans with drones, according to the ruling by a federal appeals court yesterday, which has overturned a lower court decision that they likened to Alice in Wonderland. The Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in a Freedom of Information Act claim by the New York Times as well as the ACLU, and they said the administration is going to have to come forward and provide the legal rationale they're using behind the claims that they can go and kill enemies who are Americans overseas. This is a really big deal. This so-called targeted killing program where drones from afar shoot missiles at buildings, cars, and people overseas. It started, of course, under the George W. Bush administration, and it has continued and it has even broadened under President Obama. This is one of those issues, Lewis, where we simply don't agree with the Obama policy, and at the same time, we recognize that there is very little difference between President Obama and President George W. Bush on this particular issue. We are often asked by viewers, well, where do you support President Obama and where don't you? This is one of the issues we've had with President Obama. The appeals court says that the memo, which the administration will have to provide, may be redacted from revealing specifically which government agencies are behind these drone strikes. Although former CIA Director Leon Panetta has basically said the CIA is involved. What could the reaction be to this, Lewis?
I guess that depends on the memo, and if it is just full of incredibly vague nonsense, or if it actually details what we're trying to figure out here. I really don't know what it's going to look like.
The lack of a memo, the lack of a statement from the administration about the legal basis that's being employed here has been the subject of significant controversy. If you remember last year, a federal judge blocked the disclosure of the memo. Judge Colleen McMahon of New York said that she was ensnared in what she described as a paradoxical situation where the law forbade her from ordering the memo's release. The scariest part of all of this to me, Lewis, is that the government tried to conceal something. They tried to conceal the rationale behind the drone killings in question, which, if we think about that, let's extrapolate a little bit. As we speak, there is something that I could do as an American citizen, and there is something in the law that in response to my actions could cause the government, my government, to deliberately kill me, right? And they are trying to not tell me what that is. They are trying to both not tell me what it is that I might do that would cause that, and they're trying to avoid telling me what their legal rationale would be, and that is horrifying.
That is pretty scary. Yeah, that's just one of the many absurdities we're dealing with right now, and it's a shame that everything is so secretive and non-transparent.
Well, there are some Americans, I don't want to overstate or understate the case. There are some Americans who would not be opposed in principle to drone warfare, but would want to know what the rules of the game are. What would get you on the radar in terms of, speaking almost literally here, in terms of a drone strike? And what would the legal basis be that the government would employ to carry out that drone strike? And the lack of transparency, as Lewis says, is much of the problem. And you don't have anything to worry about, right? Unless you live in a country that harbors terrorists, or you live in a country with their own terrorists, or you live in a country where the U.S. may have once declared war, or a police action, or a revolution, or a peace treaty, or you live outside of the United States, or you live inside of the United States. I guess basically you don't have to worry about this unless you're alive.
Yeah, pretty much. We can ask what the rules are, but if you look at everything our government has been doing for the past 10 plus years, it really seems like there are no rules. So maybe it's kind of pointless to ask that question.
This is viewer-supported independent media. Please support our program by going to davidpakman.com/membership and becoming a member today.